What's up, everybody? Good morning and happy Victory Monday, January 8th, 2024. DK Show up on the air on your radio dials of 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online, sportstalk1051.com. Stream it over there. You got your Google and Alexa home devices, the app, the video stream. Also up and rolling, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Hopefully all had a fantastic weekend, and well, big thanks for joining us here this morning to begin your brand new work week on this Victory Monday. Packers are in. They've punched their ticket with a 17-9 victory against the Chicago Bears. First things first, I will apologize a little bit if my voice is kind of coming in and out. Back from Lambeau, couple hours, if that, of a little shut-eye, but that was worth it after watching that game yesterday. Packers in it as the 7th seed, where they will be visiting an old friend, Mike McCarthy, and the Dallas Cowboys Sunday afternoon, 3:30. There you have it. We don't really got much else to say after that, right? Boy, Jordan Love again looking pretty darn sharp yesterday. Over 300 yards passing, couple of touchdowns. Aaron Jones against the number 1 rushing defense in the NFL. 22 carries for 111 yards. It's good for 5 yards per carry. He was the bell cow yesterday with no A.J. Dillon in the lineup, and it was all Aaron Jones, and boy, did he produce. Third straight. Get this for a fun nugget. Third straight game with 100 yards rushing. The first Packers running back to do that since 2006 and Ahman Green. There's a weird nugget for you right away to begin this Monday morning. It was since 2006 that a Packers running back had ran a ball for 100 yards in 3 straight games. When I saw that, according to Packers.com yesterday, I was like, man, it's almost, what was it, 17, 18 years, whatever the heck, 18 years, 18 seasons ago? Man, that seemed like a really long time, but Aaron Jones been balling out in these last few weeks, in perfect timing for Green Bay as well. Jaden Reed, 4 catches, 112 yards. It looked like he was kind of on a snap count yesterday too, but he made some big plays. Bo Melton, 62. Dontavian Wicks, a couple touchdowns over there. We saw Luke Musgrave being back in the lineup too. So where do we want to talk about this stuff? We talked about Jordan Love, 27 of 32. 27 of 32, 128.6 quarterback rating for him. Packers defense getting 5 sacks in the game as well, holding the Bears to just 3 field goals, holding Fields to 16 passing attempts for 148 yards. Rushing, they stopped him. Only 75 total yards rushing on 25 attempts for the Bears. That's 3 yards per carry. So got to give a little shout out. Shout out to the defense for Green Bay there. So they're in the postseason. I know we'll have plenty of time to kind of look at this Cowboys matchup a little bit later on, but I want to recap yesterday's game and kind of take a look at this regular season as a whole. I know a lot of you had chimed in last week saying, now after that after the season, before this game, you were kind of saying like, hey, regardless of what happens in the game on Sunday against Chicago, you were thinking, hey, it's pretty successful. You'd give it a thumbs up, maybe surpass a lot of your expectations. No, now they've punched a ticket into the postseason. So what do you think about this ball club? I kept saying this to myself in the car ride back home. I should say it to myself, to everybody I was riding with. Jordan Love this year, this Packers offense this year. So you had a quarterback who finished 7th in the league in passing yards, 4,159. Second in touchdown passes, 32. A QBR, 62, which is ninth best in the entire league. Okay? Those are impressive numbers. Dude throws for over 4,000 yards, 32 touchdowns, second most in the league. All without, all without having a 1,000-yard receiver. Last 2 weeks, they finally had a receiver go over 100 yards. Last week was Bull Mountain. It was Jaden Reed yesterday. Then you don't even have a 1,000-yard rusher because of injuries and, that sort of stuff to be putting up those numbers. The thing that just, boggles my mind, your leading receiver, Jaden Reed, 793 yards. Romeo Dobbs, 674. Dontavian Wicks, 581. Christian Watson, just in 9 games, 422. And you got Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave there, 355 and 352. This is exactly what we expected or what we wanted to see from a Matt LaFleur style offense or this style of offense. Spreading the wealth, spreading the ball around. Jordan Love just getting the ball to the guy who's open. Not necessarily just pigeonholing it and targeting just one or two guys. I mean, when Romeo Dobbs went out of the game yesterday after that first drive, sitting there watching it, it was Bull Mountain and Dontavian Wicks with Jaden Reed mixed in there. Got those guys, and they're producing. They're moving the ball. That's a credit to Love. That's a credit to Matt LaFleur. That's a credit to those players. That's a credit to position coaches like Jason Vrabel, who's the wide receivers coach for the Packers. But, man, I never would have thought sitting here in October we'd be talking about going to the postseason right now. But gotta love it, baby. Gotta love it on this Victory Monday. So plenty of Packers talk as the regular season now is in the books. In case you're wondering, we already have one head coaching dismissal overnight. Arthur Smith from the Atlanta Falcons dismissed, fired, let go, however you want to phrase it. We'll keep you posted if anything else kind of pops up newsworthy over there. But that's the first. We already knew that, Chargers were open. Raiders maybe possibly open if they don't keep Antonio Pierce in that. So we knew that there was already some openings out there. But Carolina and such. So we'll see if any more become official on today, which today is a day after the regular season. You see a lot of these teams who are maybe looking to make a change. They make a change today. But we'll see if the Commanders possibly and Patriots will today, or will they take their time? Will Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick, have a little chit-chats this week and try to figure out the next steps in their process. So, also on the docket, we do have the national championship tonight. Michigan versus Washington. Start sending me your picks. Who are you going to pick for this game? I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to tune into this one. I think it's going to be a good game. I like this matchup. It's an intriguing one. Which one's going to have the advantage? Michigan's defense, Washington's offense? Could Michael Penix Jr. maybe solidify himself as a top 10 pick? Maybe even higher in this NFL draft? A lot of time before the draft in April, but this is a chance for him to maybe really kind of catapult himself into that conversation where it's been Drake May and Caleb Williams. Could he be maybe the third? We got Jane Daniels mixed in there too. So I'm excited for the game tonight, but you can text me your picks. Who you riding with, Michigan or Washington? Hit me up on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line with a quick text at 715-830-1912. Bucks are also back in action tonight as they take on the Utah Jazz. Bucks looking to rebound after, no pun intended, after their loss on Saturday to the Houston Rockets. Giannis saying after the game too, they got to have pride. They got to have a little bit more pride playing defense, kind of calling out the defensive efforts over there. So we'll see if the Bucks can kind of bounce back here and pick up a win back at home, taking on the Utah Jazz. So Bucks are off the road here, and then we got that big game Thursday, taking on the Boston Celtics. So we'll throw a little hoops talk into our conversation as well. Speaking of hoops, Wisconsin Badger men's basketball team defeating, excuse me here, defeating Nebraska the other day. So they've got Ohio State's coming up on Wednesday, but Wisconsin putting up over 80 points again, 88 against Nebraska. So it is Monday, so your studs and duds. You want to send those puppies on over? I feel like it's been a while since we did a Monday program, but studs and duds, text those on over as well from the past week here. Maybe a lot of you will be riding that green and gold for your studs and such, but you can send those on over. Justice Cleveland will be joining us a little over an hour from now, about 7:30. He was also at the game last night, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about some of the local stuff, recap that, what's going on. I know girls basketball, Eau Claire Memorial, big win over Menominee last week, so we'll hit that up. I know we got some blue gold action as well, so but we'll catch up on all that with Mr. JC and EC coming up at about 7:30 here this morning. Let's get things going though. Let's talk about the Packers post-season bound. One more win than they did last year. They did something else that they didn't do last year. Win and get in game. And now you got vibes going through that locker room. I mean, if you haven't seen the videos or some of the photos, those guys were pumped like some stogies, having a little drink. Jair saying it smelled like a casino in there. I know there's probably going to be the Debbie Downer saying they're celebrating too much instead of focusing. Just stop. I'm all about letting a team celebrate for a little bit, celebrating accomplishments, especially after a season and such. But you could tell that win meant a lot to this team, meant a lot to this ball club. So let's recap it and just how excited are you about this team? And let's be real, we're probably not picking them to make a deep run or even win a postseason game here. But the outlook of this team, how do you feel about the outlook of this team? Last year at this time, a lot of people were pumped about the Detroit Lions. They were pumped about that Lions team. Lions team who didn't make the postseason, but trending upward. A lot of people love the Lions. So I'll ask you this. How do you feel about your Packers for the foreseeable future, for the immediate future here? Trending upward, do you feel better about this team on January 8th than maybe you did August 8th or whatever, like right at the beginning of training camp? Do you feel better about the future of this team, the immediate future of this team? And yes, I know the Joe Barry defensive coordinator thing for a lot of you is probably still going to be out there. Let's assume the change is made. I still believe it is, regardless of what happens in the postseason, unless they win a Super Bowl. Anything short of that, he's gone. I think we could all assume that. So do you feel better right now than what you did a few months ago? Let's take a quick break. We'll recap the game from yesterday, talk some football to lead things off on this Victory Monday. Hit me up with some texts, 715-830-1912. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Sounds like we might finally be getting some winter weather on the horizon. So that's a good reminder for any school closings or delays to check out sportstalk1051.com. Closings and delays brought to you by Service Master Triple Valley Hovlands. So stay tuned. I know they're talking about maybe it stays a little bit south here, but we got some listeners down south, a little bit south of us here in Eau Claire. So now it might be our first winter storm of the season. Be a good idea to check out in case there is any school closings and delays. And again, you can do that by visiting sportstalk1051.com. Let's go through a few texts here this morning. Jason saying, got to give credit to where credit is due. Jordan Love is looking good. He's making some nice throws, some nice touch throws, deep throws, hitting receivers on the run. Love it. Brandon's mom. You did it. Brought home a win. I could taste the victory scotch. Also, maybe you should go to Dallas. I think I might pass on that one. G-Man, happy victory Monday. Packers will win 27-20 against the Cowboys, and Aaron Jones is on fire. I have the love jersey on now. The Pack has players coming back, and Washington wins tonight 30-27. G-Man going with Washington for his pick for the national championship. Brian on Facebook also saying, gotta actually give props to the Packers defense. Just hope that they can contain all the weapons that Dallas has. Yeah, we'll look at that game a little bit later on throughout the week here. But yesterday, Packers at home against the Chicago Bears, 17-9 victory. We went through some of the numbers a little bit earlier here. Jordan Love again, 27 of 32, 316 yards, couple of touchdowns. Aaron Jones against the number ranked rushing defense. Well, he ran the ball for over 100 yards, 22 carries, 111 yards. Had to be that bell cow because no A.J. Dillon in the lineup. So it was all Aaron Jones there with his 22 carries and 111 yards. Jaden Reed seemed like he was a little bit on the snap count there, but nonetheless, he was pretty darn effective when he was out there. 4 catches, 112 yards. Bo Mountain, again, 5 catches, 62 yards. Dontavian Wicks, 6 catches, 61 yards, and a couple of touchdown catches as well. Packers finished with 5 total sacks. Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt, Lucas Van Ness, Carl Brooks, Quay Walker getting sacks. Saw this from Ryan Wood yesterday after the game, talking about Lucas Van Ness and kind of comparing him to what Rashawn Gary did in his first year. Lucas Van Ness's rookie season finishes with 4 sacks, 10 quarterback hits. Rashawn Gary's rookie season, 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hits. Again, does it mean he's going to be the next Rashawn Gary? No, but I think it might surprise some people, because Lucas Van Ness, first round pick. You expect immediate success a lot of these times, and we've been talking about this rookie class with the receivers and the tight ends and such. I thought Lucas Van Ness had a solid season. And then you got Carl Brooks on there too, another rookie defensive lineman. He finishes the season with 4 sacks on that defensive front. So you look at this rookie class, and I don't know how their futures are going to play out. But when you look at this Packers rookie class, man, it's hard not to argue, at least at this point in time, that Goody hit on a lot of picks. It's hard to argue against that. Now again, don't know how their careers are going to finish up. But you got Lucas Van Ness, 4 sacks, 10 QB hits. Luke Musgrave, I think we're all excited about him. Jaden Reed, we're all excited about him. Same with Tucker Kraft. Colby Wooden, I thought was solid as a rotational defensive lineman. Sean Clifford, the backup. A lot of people wanted Sean Clifford as a starter just not that long ago, a couple months ago. Dontavian Wicks, dude's one of the leading receivers on this team. Carl Brooks, we just mentioned him, 4 sacks. Carrington Valentine's probably starter. I mean, he's a starter now, but future starter, immediate future starting corner opposite of Jair. Anthony Johnson Jr. is getting playing time this year. The only ones we really have, and then you got Anders Carlson, who, I'll be honest, when he missed that field goal yesterday, I'm like, oh boy, kind of sucked a little bit of the energy out, but luckily it didn't come back to bite them. But, you know, you got Grant DuBose and Lou Nichols. Lou Nichols was actually released, and then Grant was activated or practice squad elevation for the game yesterday. But this class, these guys have logged a ton of playing time this year, a ton of experience, and these guys are going to get a taste of the postseason coming up now too. That's why when I threw out the question about long-term, immediate future, however you want to look at this, I'm pumped about this team, man. I'm pumped. I man, especially on the offensive side of things, seeing these guys kind of grow and mature together and play incredibly well, I'm excited. And I think the arrow is trending upward. I would think if you are a Bears, a Vikings, or a Lions fans, you got to be thinking, really? Again? Can they have more than just maybe a down year, down couple years? Because it sure looks like Green Bay's ready to, not to get into next year already or anything like that, but you make a postseason appearance this year with that youngest team, by the way, since 1977 to make the postseason. Think about it. Since 1977. Let me see if I can bring up that nugget. I think I saved it on Twitter on the drive home yesterday because I was scrolling through it, kind of following along, seeing some of the pressers and all that fun jazz and such. But yeah, I saw that nugget out there too. I was like, dang, that one kind of took me by surprise too. So, but to gain that experience, how do you not be excited about the future? But we got plenty of time to talk about the future, right? We got plenty of time to talk about the future of this team. And I think it's going to be a bright one. I think it's going to be an incredibly bright future over there. I know at the beginning of the year, when we did our preseason or our regular season predictions at the beginning of everything, I did have Green Bay in as a 7th seed. But I'll be honest with you. At that time, I think a lot of it was because I looked at it and I think a little bit of the homerism seeped through in my pick. I'll be honest. I'll admit it. I think the homerism got me. And then once we got into October and seeing that stretch, I'm like, oh yeah, no way. No way. Not happening. They ain't going. We had the discussions about, okay, what should we be watching for this year? Right? A lot of you were kind of wondering what to do. Do we actually cheer for losses to get a better draft pick? Do we just watch and hope for growth? That was kind of my thing. It's like, you know what? Whatever happens in the win or loss column. I just want to see growth. I want to see something that gets us excited. I want to see guys continue to get better, more consistent, coaching wise too. I think they hit those marks. I think they hit those marks, and a playoff appearance is just kind of a cherry on the top of it all. Because this ball club, and I know there's guys on this team that already have playoff experience and such, but for a guy like Jordan Love to go into an environment like Dallas to gain that experience, for guys like these receivers to go in there, some of the other guys, I think is going to pay huge dividends in the future. And I think this team kind of frustrates other teams or maybe other fan bases. Because you look at them, and again, like I was sitting in the car ride home last night, and I'm like, just going through the receivers in my mind, and I'm like, they they're doing this with these guys, and I'm not trying to knock these guys by any means. I'm not trying to do that, but I'm like, they're. I mean, that game you had Bo Melton, Bo Melton, Dontavian Wicks as your 1 and 2 wide receivers, and they were moving the ball. I mean, the offense probably should have put up more points in the game yesterday. But you were just like they were methodically moving the ball down the field. And they were doing it with these guys that's like, who? And I don't know if anybody caught this after the game, but Chicago Bears safety Jaquan Brisker apparently said, I felt like, quote, I felt like we could have tightened up on the receivers a bit more than we did today. We gave them too much room, and I really have no respect for them at all, just to be honest. When asked why, he said, no one's over there, no respect. They have no stars. No stars over there. They are trying to play a little fake tough. When asked what's fake tough, just doing extra stuff after the play, grabbing people's face masks after the play and things like that. Just doing a lot of the dirty stuff to get us flagged and stuff like that. I loved Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones saw this and retweeted it and said, isn't it your job to have to cover them? Should have been an easy day at work, right? If we got no one over there, that is. Rent was due today. And I think that's why I believe this team is frustrating for maybe opposing teams or opposing fan bases, because you look at that roster, you look at those receivers, and you're like, who? Who are these guys? They're not supposed to do this. They're not supposed to be good players. They're rookies. They're second-year guys. They're guys that can't stay healthy. They're not flashy players. They're not Pro Bowl players. You got a playoff team now that's got no Pro Bowlers. If we still use Pro Bowl as a gauge for this whole thing. But you look at this, and I think even for a lot of like that was kind of going through my head last night. I'm like, they were doing it with these guys. Not just leading the charge. Not one guy was leading the charge. It was a excuse me, complete and total team effort offensively. This stretch of awesome offensive performances. Jordan Love was probably if you had to pick one guy to lead a charge, it probably starts with the quarterback and Jordan Love. And the guy put up some very good numbers this year. But then you look at how he spread the ball around to these players, and it's like, and that's where I think a lot of players, other players, and fans of other teams are probably frustrated because, like, how? What are they doing? How are they getting away with this? For so long in Green Bay, we've been accustomed to one GOAT wide receiver, like one alpha dog at the receiver spot, whether it was Devontae or Jordy. Greg Jennings was kind of that guy for a hot minute. It was always like one, and then you're waiting for that next man up. Once in a while you'd have like Jordy paired with Randall Cobb and et cetera, et cetera. But you kind of knew who the number one guy was. I honestly feel like this team doesn't have one, and I don't think they really care. Now, maybe eventually in the next year or two, somebody will kind of start to lead the pack, if you will. This is the offense that I think a lot of us wanted to see when Matt LaFleur first came in. It's like, all right, Shanahan style, McVay style, coming from that tree, spreading the ball around, scheming to get guys open. I don't think there's any better proof than what we've been seeing with this offensive growth in the last month or so. When it just seems like they could plug in a different receiver, different pass catcher over there, and they're still making plays and they're still moving the football. A couple plays from Jordan Love, and I thought there was some throws from Jordan Love, and I mean, he was really good last night. But there were some throws I would have liked to have seen him get a little bit more zip on there. Thought there was a little air. There was the one touchdown pass to Dontavian Wicks. When we were watching it in person live, it's like, oh boy, that one would have liked to have seen got there a little bit more. And then I know there was another one where Jordan threw off his back foot and maybe got a little lucky there too. But still, there were some impressive throws that man made. And then that final drive, dancing around in the pocket, avoiding the rush, sidestepping, and then hitting Tucker Kraft for the dagger. Huge play. Play like that. Ball in his hands. The offense, ball in their hands. With a chance to wind down the clock and clinch it. They did it. Because I thought at one point in the fourth quarter, I'll be like, okay, it's a tight game. A lot is on the line here. Playoff spot. You got a Bears team that they got nothing to play for other than they want to knock the teeth out of this team and they don't want them to go to the postseason. And you got a very young Packers team, inexperienced Packers team, where that fourth quarter kicks on. You start to feel those nerves. You start to feel those butterflies a little bit. Like, oh, we're 15 minutes away from going to the postseason. Do you start to maybe overthink it, get a little bit in your head, make a mistake, then you let it fester? That team didn't do that last night. They didn't do that. Jordan Love made a mistake with the fumble. They bounced back. Because that was one thing I was really curious to see how this team was going to react in the fourth quarter with all the chips on the table, holding on to a slim lead. With that inexperience, with that young team, would that kind of creep up and catch up to them in a big time pressure moment? And it didn't. That was impressive. And I thought it was really cool after the game. Now, I didn't see the telecast, but seeing Matt LaFleur sprint onto the field right away, and the first thing he did was give Jordan Love a big old hug over there. I mean, that kind of encompasses everything, right? Matt LaFleur is tied to the hip of Jordan Love. Matt LaFleur's job, a big part of his job was to develop Jordan Love into being a future franchise quarterback, the long-term starting quarterback. Big reason why LaFleur was brought in here. And right now it kind of looks like he's done that. But how do you not feel pumped up about the future, about the state of the union, if you will, about this team? There's a lot to like here. It's a lot. Now, in terms of can they go into Dallas and pick up a win? It's going to be tough. We know Dallas is all about, they've got championship aspirations. 2 seed, they're dominant at home. Dallas is really good at home. Really good at home this year. They've got some weapons on the outside. Is Jair, how often is he going to be matched up with like CeeDee Lamb and that? I mean, it's going to test the corners. It's going to be a big test for that secondary for Green Bay. And then can the Packers offense move the ball against Dan Quinn? Dan Quinn, Matt LaFleur know each other, right? Matt LaFleur was on Dan Quinn's staff when they went to the Super Bowl. If you're asking me now, I'm probably picking Dallas to win this game. But I almost feel I don't want to say this, but I don't know if I want to say this, but I almost feel like Packers fans will be okay if as long as it's not a blowout. Like if it's a competitive game. Because when you look at it, Dallas, top 5 offense, 5th in yards, most yards per game, 371.6. 3rd in terms of passing offense. Defensive leaders, Dallas 5th in terms of yards given up. Now, the one weakness potentially on this Bears, or excuse me, on this Dallas defense that maybe Green Bay can exploit a little bit is the rushing defense. They're about middle of the pack. Okay. Dallas is. Not to get into a whole breakdown of Dallas, but they're at about 112 yards they've given up on the ground. And you just had Aaron Jones, who ran for 111 against the league's number 1 rushing defense. So maybe, just maybe, they can control the clock a little bit, not come away with a bunch of empty possessions. Maybe they can go into Dallas and have a little bit of success. Green Bay's, I don't think, that's the other part of this team. I don't think they're going to go in there intimidated, and that's a mixture of this youth on here that just doesn't know any better. Like they're so young that, like, maybe they don't understand the moment or something like that. But we've all been there when we're younger. Like, please, what am I going to be intimidated about? You know what I mean? And then you got some of the veterans who've been there before and done that before. Aaron Jones loves playing in his home state of Texas. Always seems to have a great game in Dallas. Other guys have been there. It's a good mixture, I think. But right now, how can you not be pumped about this team? A lot to be excited about. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll close up the first hour here. Keep your texts coming. We'll get to some more coming up in just a little bit. Looking for that caffeine kick to get you going each morning and throughout the day? Well, that's easy. You're looking for Cabot Coffee in Altoona. Whether you're in the mood for coffee, tea, or an iced energy drink, Cabot Coffee has something to help you get going in the mornings and throughout the days. Cabot Coffee also has a breakfast and lunch menu with a wide range of options for you to choose from to help keep you going throughout your day. Don't settle for low quality drinks and food to fill your energy void. Go for the fresh and high quality food and drinks at Cabin Coffee because you and your taste buds deserve better. We'll be catching up with Sports Director Justice Cleveland coming up a little over 30 minutes, about 35 ish minutes away from here. He was also at the game yesterday. So we'll get his thoughts on the green and gold. Plus, we'll catch up on some of the local stuff that's been going on, some hoops, wrestling, swimming, all that good stuff. We'll catch up with JC on that. We got the national championship game tonight too. I know a lot of it, a lot of the talk, a lot of the hype surrounding the postseason this year. All right, let me rephrase this. I know a lot of the hype and the talk right now is about the postseason for the NFL, the matchups, wild card weekend coming up here. But don't forget, we got that national championship game tonight. I know it kind of always flies under the radar. In the past, it's always been after wild card weekend, which, not that long ago was just this past weekend. But should be a really, really good matchup. Get your picks in right now. I would say based off the text, it's about 50-50. It's about 50-50 in terms of if you're going to pick Michigan or Washington. So, if you haven't made your pick yet, go ahead and do so. Okay. Bucks are going to be back in action tonight as well, and they're hoping to make a bounce back after falling to the Houston Rockets this past weekend, 112-108. Although halftime, that final score might be a little bit deceiving because it was kind of a dominating game by Houston the first half there. But Giannis kind of saying after the game that they've got a few months to fix their issues. Quote, we have to be better. We have to play better. We have to defend better. We have to trust one another better. We have to be coached better. Every single thing. Everybody has to be better. It starts from the equipment manager. He has to wash our clothes better. The bench has to be better. The leaders of the team have to be more vocal. We have to make more shots. We have to defend better. We have to have a better strategy. We have to be better. We have 4 months to get better. So we'll see. Adrian Griffin after the game saying, it'll come. It's a team sport. It's 5 guys out there. I thought we dug ourselves in a hole as a unit and did a good job of getting out of it, but just ran out of time. They did a good job defensively. So, got Giannis maybe kind of calling out his team right now, saying, guys, we got to pick it up. We got a few months to figure this out. The expectations are so incredibly high for this ball club, right? We know they're incredibly high, but we'll see if they can bounce back. And I'm really looking forward to that Thursday game against Boston. I'm really looking forward to that game against Boston to see another test, to see where this team's at. But I think we would all agree the one area that they probably have to get better at if they want to make a deep postseason run this year is playing some better defensive basketball. And that's been the big bugaboo for this team so far this year. But we'll talk some more hoops coming up a little bit later on. Don't forget to also studs and duds. You can text those on over. We'll get to some studs and duds a little bit later on. A couple of texts to catch up on. This one is from Dave. Jordan Love has definitely exceeded my expectations. This team has exceeded my expectations so far this year. I feel like we're just playing with house money right now, and I absolutely love where the future of this team is going. We got Ben also saying the future looks incredibly bright for this ball club. I'll be honest, I was one of those who doubted Goody, doubted the coaching staff, still doubt Joe Barry, and doubted a lot of these players, but they have proved me wrong. I am incredibly excited for the next few seasons. We got Gregory also saying on the texting line here. I was not a believer in Jordan Love. I was vocal about not being a believer in Jordan Love, but I gotta tell you what, I'm glad to be wrong right now. The kid looks like he can play. Obviously, not perfect, still some things to get through, but for a first season as a full-time starter, wow, what an impressive year. And I can't wait to see him continue to grow. All right, so it sounds like we got some optimism. Why wouldn't we have some optimism, right? Why wouldn't you have some optimism surrounding Jay Love, surrounding this team? It's kind of cool sitting in the stands and watching the game and hearing all the different Packers fans kind of like clamoring for Jay Love to make a play. Like I remember doing that when I was younger. You know, you kind of like, all right, Brett, make a play, or all right, Aaron, come on, Aaron, you got to make a play. And now you got the next generation of fans counting on Jordan Love to do it. They got the confidence that Jordan Love can do it, right? I think it's safe to say Jordan Love is the dude for the foreseeable future. I don't know of anybody personally, unless there is somebody still out there, but I don't know anybody personally right now that still hasn't bought into to Love. And maybe it's you're not fully bought in. Maybe you want to see how he does in a playoff game and all that. But I hope maybe we don't have to get into a discussion in the next couple of years, kind of like what surrounds Lamar here a little bit. Like, it's gotta win a postseason game. Mostly it's because I'm hoping Jordan Love will already have some postseason wins over there, to be honest with you. So, shot clock's gonna cut me off here. We're gonna talk some more green and gold coming up in the next hour. But keep your thoughts coming. Hit us up with some texts on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Not only on the win from yesterday, but how pumped are you about the future of this ball club? How pumped? How excited are you? How big is that area? Should there be more talk, do you think, maybe from the national side of things, that this Packers team arrow should be sky high? What I mean by that is, and this is not a knock on them because they won a division this year. They lived up to that. But last year, the end of the season, a lot of love for the Lions. Should Green Bay be getting that same amount of love for their future? One end, we got two more to go. We'll be back after these news updates. Second hour kicking off on this Victory Monday. Appreciate you tuning in wherever, however you may be tuning in from. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll catch up with Justice Cleveland, sports director. Hit up on some of the local stuff. Also, his thoughts on the green and gold from yesterday and a bunch of other stuff. We got the national championship tonight. Text me your picks at 715-830-1912. Riding with Michigan or you riding with Washington? Let's do some sports nuggets of the day. Also, too, by the way, studs and duds. Who are your studs and duds? Okay, studs and duds from the past, from the past week. So, sports nuggets of the day. 1901, Chicago. All right, see, Bob, if you're listening right now, man, who gave me a little grief the other day about bowling. Here you go. 1901, Chicago. The first tournament sanctioned by the American Bowling Congress was held. There you go. There's your bowling talk. Let's go. Let's go with 1955. After 130 home basketball wins, Georgia Tech defeated Kentucky 59-58. It was the first Kentucky loss at home since January 2nd, 1943. We got 1960, the NCAA met in New York and voted against reviving the unlimited substitution rule for college football. Michael Jordan in 1993, became the 18th player in NBA history to reach 20,000 points. And 1984, I guess we can put this one, 1984, ABC purchased the remaining 85% of ESPN. So there you go. So those are some of your sports nuggets for this morning. So we've been talking a lot, obviously, about Green Bay, the future, the youngsters, and all that jazz. I'll tell you what, one veteran who, I mean, I've always wanted him to stay. He's easily one of my favorite players, probably even of all time. But when you looked at his contract and at the beginning of the year, I, like a lot of people out there, thought, could he be a salary cap casualty for next year? But I don't know how you can move on from this man right now. And I'm talking about Aaron Jones. Now, Aaron Jones, I think if he were to remain on the team for next year, he's probably going to have to do another restructure, because next year he has a cap hit of $17.7 million. All right, $17.7 million cap hit. To put that in comparison of the high cap hits for this year, that if that was his cap hit for this year, he'd be the highest. Okay, that'd be the highest in the league right now this year. 2023 was Derrick Henry at 16, about 16.4. Then it was Nick Chubb, 14.8, Josh Jacobs, and that sort of thing. So I would have to imagine they would have to adjust that a little bit, although Green Bay is going to have more cap space available this offseason. And one way by doing that is David Bakhtiari, moving on from him, and then we know that the salary cap is going to be a little bit higher anyways. But I mean, it was thought that would Green Bay move on from Aaron Jones after this season because of that cap hit of 17.7. Now they would incur a $12.4 million dead cap, but math, 17.7, 12.4, subtract that, you're saving about $5 million in cap space. And then you've got the other voided years on this thing that we don't need to get into right now at this point in time. But you look at Aaron Jones, and especially, the last 3 games, this is what's kind of been a downer for Jones, is that he's been hurt this year, right? In and out of the lineup. Guy's been banged up. But from the last 3 games, well, what we have seen from him, I know he's 29. He's going to be 30 next year. At that running back position, you start to get a little nervous. But I want this man back for next year. I want this man back for next year. I think they still got to prioritize getting a young running back in through the draft. Bring him on in. But Aaron Jones to me hasn't proved or showed me that they should move on from him. Maybe I'm being a little bit of a homerism on that because I love that guy. As I said, he's one of my favorite players, but this offense is so much better. So much better with a guy like him in play. And maybe Green Bay still looks at it like, okay, we'll just go to the draft and get somebody younger who's a lot like Aaron Jones and then still move. I hope Aaron Jones is such a valuable leader, I think, in that locker room on this team too, that, man, I would love to see Aaron Jones back for another year. I think you saw what he could still provide in these last, we've seen it in these last 3 weeks here. I want to see Showy time back. That guy is so cool. But I just wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to Jonesy there because of what he has done in these last 3 weeks. 3 straight games, 100 yards rushing. We mentioned it a little bit earlier. A nugget that surprised me. This was from Packers.com. That Aaron Jones is the first Packers player since Ahman Green in 2006 to have 3 straight games of 100 yards rushing. You had to go back to 2006 to find the last time a Packers player, a Packers running back, ran the ball for over 100 yards 3 straight games. That kind of blew my mind that it's been that long. Aaron Jones is now the 6th Packers player to have more than 8,000 career total yards. He just keeps moving up in the rankings of Packers history. And the fact that he still went out there and rushed for 111 yards on the NFL's number 1 ranked defense yesterday. Number 1 ranked defense. And he goes out there and averages 5 yards a carry. Puts up over 100 yards. I mean, I think all of us probably thought it was going to be very hard to run. I know we talked about it on Friday, saying, okay, you got to come up with some creative ways to maybe utilize a lot of motion, misdirection to maybe free up some of that running game. We talked about sticking with the running game, but making it effective, having an effective running game, not necessarily just turning around and handing it off and always having like 1 yard or no gain and just, well, we're going to stick with it. You had to be successful in running the football. Packers were able to do that against the best yesterday. And he's still, even for 29, those cuts that he makes, guy still looks like he has it. Still looks good. Now, I would love if, like Green Bay next year, whether it was like through the draft or something like that, they got some really like speedster. Like if you're watching the Dolphins last night or maybe even Kansas City with Isaiah, like a speedster guy, like a 4.3 guy that just like, whoop, he's go. That'd be kind of cool to pair up with that. But that's for the draft. That's for next year here. And who knows? Aaron Jones might have himself a game. He likes playing in his home state of Texas. He likes playing in Cowboy Stadium. He's got another 100 game up his sleeve. I think he's going to be a big key if the Packers want to roll into Dallas and upset the Cowboys and upset their friend Mike McCarthy and pick up a W. I think a big key in that's going to have to be Aaron Jones. Having success running the football, controlling the clock, keeping Dallas's offense on the sidelines. 6, 7, 8 minute drives, but coming away with touchdowns instead of field goals. Packers want to pull off that upset. I think Aaron Jones is going to have to be a big key in this game. Surveyor Sam, what a game! What a game! Whole team played amazing, especially Jay Love. If you're not on the Love train by now, you're never going to be a fan of him. And how about that Joe Barry defense? 5 sacks, 9 points allowed. Better come with those helmets strapped tight, Dallas, because the youngest team in the history of the NFL is coming. C-Bob, all right, you did hear the bowling stuff. Spot on, keep him. They have the cap room. 33 is the straw that stirs the drink. The offense is entirely different with him in the game. I think there's those other factors that you have to involve in there too. Just with this youth, with this inexperience, to have that veteran type of leadership, and the guy has been nothing but like he leads by example. I remember, was it last year? Yeah, I think it was last year. The guy shows up for every minicamp practice. He says he leads by example, and there's no better example of that when veterans get excused at practice and Aaron Jones still shows up to practice. I mean, that's who I want my rookies, my young players to be looking at, to be emulating. That work ethic, like Aaron Jones. I mean, that guy, I don't know, sometimes with some of the hits that he takes, I don't know how he gets back up. He's only like 5'9", and he has taken some major hits. I don't know how that guy gets back up sometimes. But he's been able to do it for a while now. So I would love, I got to get myself an Aaron Jones jersey. I know I might be maybe jinxing it, and maybe he won't be back next year, but Jones is definitely one of my favorite players of all time. I think I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and try to find an Aaron Jones jersey and add it to the collection over there too. So, but man, just kind of flying under the radar, I think, from maybe not necessarily from Packers fans, but like just from a national perspective of how well he has played in these last few games. And I think it's going to be a very critical player coming up here for this Dallas game too. All right, so do you feel like we're playing with house money? A couple of you have already mentioned that on the texting line. It's not negative; it's positive in some ways too. A couple of you said really having fun this season. Feel like we're playing with house money. I'm paraphrasing, kind of combining a couple of your texts. Play money right now. Post bonus. Probably gonna lose. That's from a couple of you out there again. Feel like you play with house money? I keep shaking my head thinking about this. I just it's an offense I'm not used to. I think over the years for watching Green Bay. I keep shaking my head thinking Bo Melton, Dontavian Wicks, Jane Reed. Like, who the heck are these guys? Well, they're rookies or they're practice squad guys, and they're leading the team in receiving. Get it done. Their offense is moving the ball with these guys. How you not enjoying this? How you not having fun? This is something a little bit different than what we've been accustomed to for a long time in Green Bay. I'm having fun with this, man. And I just like the energy of this team. I like the makeup of this team. Anybody who thought LaFleur lost the locker room or the coaching staff lost the locker room or they don't believe in LaFleur, one, you're probably not in it. Chances are you're probably not in it. You're basing it off of something you see on TV or social media. But if LaFleur lost the locker room, they're not in the postseason. They're not playing incredibly well on offense. I mean, this was an offense that felt like they were just in the entire game yesterday, and felt like they should be putting up more points. But anybody who believes that LaFleur's lost this locker room, or I should say still believes that LaFleur lost this locker room, stop. Got it. It's just not. LaFleur deserves a lot of credit this year. And I know he was on the hot seat for a lot of fans. He was on the hot seat for a lot of fans. And he deserves criticism for the Joe Barry thing. But he also deserves credit for what he has been doing with this offense, for how he has molded Jordan Love. You know, there was a great article yesterday, Wisconsin State Journal. I believe it was Jason Wilde that wrote it, and talked about, you know, at that certain point in this season where, you know, LaFleur just kind of said, all right, let's just rip it. Let's let it rip. Let's let Jordan Love, let's let it rip. We're going to change it up. We're going to do that. And ever since then, this is when that offense has kind of taken off. You know, LaFleur's not going to win Coach of the Year. I know there were some Packers fans like, hey, should he get consideration? Maybe he'll get a vote, like a fifth place vote, fourth place vote, however that thing goes. He won't get that, but you still have to tip your cap to a lot of the positive stuff that he has done this year. A coach that has undergone a lot of scrutiny for various reasons from some Packers fans out there. But the job that he has done with this offense, and for the most part too, kind of keeping the locker room together. I mean, you know, you trade Rasul Douglas, then you had the Jair thing going on. You watch some of those locker room stuff. That's not a man who has lost that locker room. That is not a guy who has lost that locker room. So let's tip the cap a little bit and give a little shout out to LaFleur. Does he deserve again some knock on the Joe Barry thing? Yeah, I'd go with that. I'd agree with you. I've been on record saying that. But overall, I'm good with him as our head coach right now. I'm good with him. I love the energy he brings on the sidelines. I love the energy and enthusiasm he brings to the game. And I think he has grown himself as a play caller this year. I really believe he has grown a lot. You know, you could say, had Aaron Rodgers the first couple years, Devontae, you know, maybe some of the credit gets taken away from him because of the offensive weapons he's had. But this year, what he has done with this group, I think he has really, really grown into a play caller, but as a head coach overall, too. And I think he's only going to get better. That's my opinion. But I think that he's only going to get better now. All right, let's take a quick break. We should be getting close to having JC Nisi, Justice Cleveland, joining us here in a little bit. We'll catch up with him and talk some more football, but also talk some local stuff going on as well. Let's catch up on a few texts here before we get to JC in the EC. Dave, Aaron Jones was listening to you earlier about Damon Green, same effective runner and pass catcher. Evil Surveyor Sam, Jaden Reed is a stud. Another texter, I'm headed to the game in Dallas. Any chance you can help me find out if there are any pre-game Packer rallies in Dallas?
I'm sure there will be.
Yeah, PackersEverywhere.com.
Yep. There'll be something.
Yep, that's the one to do. That's like the Packers official one. They will have info. They're going to be doing something.
Yeah, they'll
there.
hold something for sure. They usually do at every road game. So yeah,
I will even text you the website.
Look at that right service with a smile this morning.
I like it, man. We got Mark. This guy probably doesn't, or C-Bob probably doesn't hear this a whole lot, but Mark's saying, C-Bob's smart man. I cannot agree more with his take on Jonesy. Aaron, this has been one of the funnest seasons of Packers football. Enjoying this. To think that the Bears season is in the book ended with bookends.
Bookends.
Yeah. Thank you with Packers losses.
Hey, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, thank you, man. And on top of that, the future of the 14 playoff teams, the Packers have the most draft capital and fewest upcoming free agents this offseason. Travis from A-Town can't say enough about the play of these young receivers and this entire offense. Been a heck of a transition year, and we might not be done yet. Go Pack, go. All right, JC was also at the game, but he was in the locker room afterwards. I saw Jair saying it smelled like a casino in there. Did it smell like a casino in there?
I was having flashbacks to the days of smoking in the bars.
Yeah.
Walk in there, and it just was thick with cigar smoke. And, yeah, they were celebrating. Like, it was probably one of the biggest just getting into the wild card celebrations I think I've seen.
Yeah.
But because of where they're at and how young everybody is in that locker room, I think it was just one of those, see, we can, like, almost like we told you we could do this.
Right.
And we did it.
Yep.
I think the most telling was Joe Barry when he came down from the booth, walking through the tunnel to the locker room, just let out a loud, because the players are coming off the field. He's coming out of the elevator.
Yep.
And it was just a cathartic scream from, it was almost, I mean, if to think of Kirk Cousins when he was still in Washington.
You like that?
Yeah. Yep. He didn't say that, and I'll give him credit, but I think he knows that the media was there watching, and probably was just like, hey guys, I'm still here.
Yep.
And I think his players love him. That's the thing. You can tell the players really like him.
Yep.
So I don't know what his future is with the team, but yeah, that was, to me, that stuck out right away. And just how excited everybody was. And, they had a feed from CBS coming out. There was a monitor out there that we could see, and you could see into the locker room. Like, there was guys riding around in, like, the laundry cart. I mean, it was just like a scene out of, kind of like in baseball when they clinch the division or a wild card spot. If they'd had champagne, they probably would have been spraying champagne.
Yeah, I did see there was some mini bottles of some stuff. I saw a couple of media members tweeting that out there. Like, there were some people were having some of that in there too. So,
and even Matt LaFleur, I don't think we've seen this much emotion. Like him walking into the tunnel.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the video of him just like, pointing at the fans, just pumped up. I think this for him was validation.
Yep.
That he wasn't just riding off the coattails of Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
That he can get it done, and they did it this year. And I think, he won't get Coach of the Year.
No.
But I still think he deserves consideration for what he's done.
He deserves a lot of credit, I think, for especially with this offensive stuff. I think he's grown this year too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Big time. And I loved it. The first thing he does as soon as that game's over with, he sprints on the field and hugs Jordan Love right away.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool moment. And I know Jordan Love talked about that after the game too.
Yeah, and I think you can tell there's a bond.
Yep.
And I think it was, and he's just probably so proud just to see how Jordan Love handled all of this situation and to come out the other side.
Yep.
As and he got a little candid in his post-game press conference about Jordan Love. I'm not going to say what he said, but he's a guy who can handle his stuff. That's, in other words, he said it.
Yep.
That's the first time I think I've heard Matt LaFleur ever swear. And
well, in that video that the Packers posted when he was talking to his team, they had to bleep out quite a few words in there too.
So that's just the pure outpouring of emotion you saw from that team.
Yep.
To work as hard as they did, to be left for dead in the middle of the season. I would have been one of those. I didn't think they had a chance to make the playoffs when they're 2-5.
Yeah.
And to come from that, to make the run they did, have ups and downs still in that run,
yep,
and get it done. It's pretty amazing.
I just keep shaking my head, Justice, when I was doing this on the car ride home last night too. You got Jordan Love, who's thrown for over 4,000 yards, 32 touchdown passes, top 2, 3 in the league.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a 1,000-yard receiver.
Nope.
Finally, the last 2 weeks, the receiver's gone over 100 yards in a game. It's Bo Melton. I mean, it's
Bo
Melton.
I mean, talk about a guy who most of us didn't know his name,
right?
Until you looked on and like, who's this guy? Mo Belton.
Yeah, right. But it's obvious Jordan and that team got a lot of confidence in him.
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't know if you heard, did it seem like Jade Reed was on a snap count a little bit yesterday too? Because when Romeo went out with that injury, it was Bo Melton and Dontavian Wicks quite a bit out there.
And I think, that's maybe it's just the fact that they're so young they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know. They don't, they don't, there don't seem to be any egos on that offense right now.
Right.
And who knows what'll happen in years to come. Maybe that'll happen. But right now, it's like everybody's so young. They're just out there playing just to play. And it's kind of fun to watch that. That's what this team has been this year, is just the youth of it. And after the business part of it dominated for so many years lately, it seemed like it was just those guys out there playing to have fun and win.
Right. Exactly. And that's kind of something I was curious about too. Like in that fourth quarter, it's still close. Would that youth kind of start to creep out and be like, the butterflies start to get in there, you're like, oh boy, are they going to be able to hold it together? We've all been in a situation like that.
Yep.
And they did. Even Jordan Love, that throw to Tucker Kraft to pretty much put the dagger on that thing.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm sitting there in the press box watching it, and I was the Captain Obvious tweet of they're keeping the Bears in it, but they were.
Yeah.
They should have been leading that game by more.
It felt like that offense was dominating throughout the whole time.
And they were.
Yeah.
And that the Bears weren't doing anything on offense. All it would have taken was one play for that offense, for the defense lets them down, and that Bears offense gets a touchdown, and we're headed possibly towards overtime, or I thought it was going to come down to a 2-point conversion. It just had that bad feeling that you had with a young team like that, but they buckled down. I think that Jordan Love fumble could have been just a heartbreaker, because you're just moving up and down the field. They just could not get in the end zone. But they able to hold on. And again, credit the defense. The defense, I mean, the Bears didn't do anything.
No.
They got their field goals.
They couldn't throw the ball.
Yeah. I mean, it really kind of might have sent the Bears into a whole lot of different what they're going to do now with their future after that one game.
Yeah.
I mean, it might have made the decision on Justin Fields.
Yep.
What's the Eberflus's decision? It seems like he's now back on the hot seat now.
Yeah.
So, it just tells you how dominant Joe Barry's defense was there.
5 sacks, but collapsing that pocket, not allowing Justin Fields to have a lot of open space to run.
Right. And you have Moore, who's a good receiver.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get anything downfield.
No.
And it was what you want to see in week 18.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to say week 17 all the time.
Yeah,
too,
I know.
So but I mean, it's kind of unique to hear from a lot of Packers fans too. I mean, this has been a roller coaster season, no doubt. But even before that game, you heard a lot of, or at least we heard a lot of Packers fans say, regardless of what happens, it's a success.
Yeah.
Now you're hearing, house money, kind of playing with house money right now. And I feel like, is it similar? Do you think it should be similar to what the talk was last year about the Lions? The way they were playing, they didn't get to the postseason, but there was that optimism, like, okay, they're going to take the next step.
Yeah.
Should that, and it's kind of weird to say Green Bay take the next step, but you got a team that's, okay, they figured out their quarterback. they got that. Their young receivers, young offense is just kind of rolling right now. Should that arrow kind of be the same what it was for the Lions at the end of last year going into this year for Green Bay for next year, even though their season's not over with yet at this point?
I think it should be. I think you watched a team make steps and continually grow.
Yeah.
It does, I was looking back on that Favre's first season as a starter, so 92.
Yep.
And it does remind me of that, where you see things coming together after kind of a year before where it was, you switch coaches and all, it was hopeless kind of.
Right.
And all of a sudden now you have your quarterback, and the quarterback and the coach get along, and that team had youth. And that's kind of what I see here is like everything's coming together for this team that was supposed to be rebuilding. Yeah. And that's what that 92 team was supposed to be rebuilding with Holmgren in his first year. So But I mean, we can put Jordan Love this. I mean, Favre didn't get them to the playoffs that year. He didn't start all the games that year, but still didn't get them there. Aaron Rodgers didn't get the Packers to the playoffs his first year.
Yeah.
Bart Starr didn't get the Packers to the playoffs in his first year as a starter. But you know what Jordan Love did? Got him to the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive. So yeah, I've been impressed by him, his demeanor, and just his leadership of that team. I've heard people, oh, he's not the most interesting guy, soundbite and all stuff. He's the most even keel guy, though. You'll see.
Here's the thing. I'd take that over the last, maybe what we saw the last few years.
There's another guy who has too many sound bites that used to be at the quarterback now. So
exactly.
Yeah, it really has. It has been a fun year to just kind of reinvigorate not only I think the team, but the fan base. I think after again everything being off the field for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
See everything on the field and that to be the main focus is fun.
To hear fans within the stadium too. Because I remember doing this when I was younger. When you're watching a game and you're younger, you're like, okay, Brett, make a play. You're or Aaron, make a play. To hear these fans out saying, let's go, J-Lo, we got you. To hear that transition, it'll be so interesting that I think in the next few years, 5, 10 years, whatever it may be, what the perception, what the fans' feelings are towards Love, and that's going to be like how Love's personality, I think, continues to grow too.
Yeah,
because. It's the narrative like, I would love to have a beer with Brett Favre, Brett Favre, that sort of thing. Aaron Rodgers, a little bit of a different feel for a lot. I'm curious and excited to see how Jordan Love and how the fan base embraces Jordan Love.
Right. I think we saw times this year, there was chances for guys to really jump off the Jordan Love bandwagon.
Yeah.
Like when they were struggling that stretch in the middle of the year where Love couldn't get those touchdowns late in games to, get the win or keep them in it. That's where people were starting, oh, you can't win the big one. And there you go on Facebook and you'll just see plenty of posts at that time where people are just like, he's just not it.
Yeah.
He's not the answer. A lot of people could be getting really owned on Facebook for some of those posts as they go back into it. But at the end of the year, he's one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. Top 5 almost, arguably, if you wanted to really go at it there. And I don't think any of us really thought that was going to happen unless you're Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst.
Right.
Because they had faith that he could be that quarterback, which is, again, the limb that Brian Gutekunst went out on to draft Jordan Love. You got to give him credit. I don't think any of us saw you look at his stats in college and you don't see it.
No.
You don't see, but they saw something that made them think that this is the guy they wanted to replace a legend. And who knows what happens after this season.
Right.
But for 1 year, year one, Jordan Love did it.
Yep.
And did it better maybe than Aaron Rodgers did his last year.
And a rookie class this year that has contributed so many different ways.
Insane the amount of just the machinery that's just producing these receivers.
Yeah.
I mean, every team would love to have the depth that Green Bay has developed at wide receiver. Because no matter who goes down. Again, I'm talking about Bo Melton, a guy who was scrap heap guy.
Yep.
Is your leading receiver.
Yeah.
It's just been amazing. There's no Rodgers, Adams.
No.
It's whoever's. You don't even like Watson's gone.
Yeah.
And if you would have told me at the beginning of the season Watson would miss as much time as he did, and this team would still find the success on offense that they did, I wouldn't have believed you because I would have thought he would have been the key guy.
Yep.
There is no key guy, so that's the amazing part.
Absolutely. We'll have more talking some football really quick. Kind of an intriguing move here by the Commanders. So the Commanders have fired Ron Rivera. No big surprise. However, they are going a little bit of a different route. They have hired 2-time NBA Executive of the Year Bob Myers to help run their franchise. Bob Myers is the GM, the executive who built the Warriors dynasty with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and all that. So he did step down before this year to work in TV. You probably saw him on ESPN a little bit there this year. But Commanders are bringing him in.
And Rick Spielman.
Yeah, and Rick Spielman too.
So interesting. I wonder who. Obviously, now we have 2 openings confirmed already this morning.
Yep. With Atlanta and Washington.
Yep, and then you're going to have Carolina.
Carolina Chargers are also on there too. So Raiders maybe.
Is Harbaugh Harbaugh ends up at one of these teams,
I
right?
think so, especially if he wins tonight.
Right. He's got to get out of town before everything gets messy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just escape in the middle of the night and go take the NFL job. And
Yep.
if
Exactly.
fails, come back to college in 10 years,
Yep.
5 years.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like he's at one of these teams. And then Belichick, which I said it, I tweeted it out. The most Belichick thing is to hold your press conference at 7 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
Like I woke up and I'm like, why are there live tweets about Bill Belichick? You think he slept?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think he stayed at the facility.
Right. Like there's no way he went home.
Nope.
He was there the whole time. Just
Yep.
"All right, I'll go do my press conference and then go.
Yep.
Like that's a football guy right there. He's got he's got like the couch in his office
Oh,
that he probably
absolutely.
just sleeps on. Probably has a room in the
Yep.
facility at this point. But yeah, I mean, I just like that to me was just like the most Bill Belichick thing, the 7 a.m. press conference on a Monday morning.
Yep.
You didn't know half the media people were doing all the shows up until 10 o'clock. Like it's
Yep.
just Bill Belichick right there.
And all the morning shows going on too, where it's radio and all that. So
Yeah.
probably fewer people in that presser
Oh,
too.
there had to have been.
There's a little strategery involved in there from Belichick.
Yeah.
That's going to be so intriguing to follow, though.
I think that's the big one. I mean, that's one of the biggest storylines. I think after last night's game, the Bears, what they do.
Yeah.
And I was talking with Matt Zahn, who works down in Chicago, used to work in Wausau, and he's like, "Yeah, I mean, it's not. You'd love to be in the playoffs, but they have not only the number one draft pick, but what's going to happen with the future." It doesn't seem like I don't know if they make a move or not, but it seems like after yesterday, it sounds like the grumblings came back more out after how bad they played in Green Bay and how Justin Fields couldn't get him in the end zone. So, yeah, they have a big decision to make.
Huge.
Jordan Love, the all-time would have, I loved all the tweets about how Jordan Love would be like would have had the Bears' greatest season at quarterback.
Yeah, that was before yesterday's game too.
Yeah.
It was Kramer that has all the passes from 95 yet.
Yeah, it's
It
weird.
surprised me.
It is just weird how they just haven't had that.
Not even Cutler was, I thought, Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey and Martellus Bennett. And even Matt Forte, who was a great pass catching runner. No, still Kramer from 95. It's unreal.
So, so they got to go to the well again, you think? I think they do.
Yeah.
I don't know. Justin Fields could still have a career.
Yeah.
But I just don't think it's going to be in Chicago.
Yeah.
If they can get a second, I was done with Mazon. I was like, he's like, if they can get a second round pick for Fields, it's probably worth. It's not obviously you'd love to get another first round pick for him, but I don't think you're going to get one. But if you can get a second round pick, that's a lot of draft capital that you already have. Adding another second round pick, which are like gold these days, I think would be huge. And somebody's going to give him another shot.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll have more. Keep your texts coming, though. 715-830-1912. We'll get back to some more of your texts, more football talk, all that coming up in just a couple minutes. Just a few minutes to the top of the hour here. Let's go over some texts on this Monday morning, Victory Monday morning.
Is it Black Monday, as they call it in the
That,
coaching
yeah.
NFL?
I don't think we don't, at least we don't have that for Green Bay today.
Right, exactly.
We got a text, Mike, what a glorious day, I tell you. I've been so optimistic about our Packers. It feels joyous to be here as a Packer fan this morning. I've been on and off the Joe Barry bandwagon after hearing Justice say his players love him. If we make a run now, is it going to be hard to decide what to do? Defense played amazing yesterday. It's going to be an interesting off season.
I don't think it's now written in stone.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with Joe Barry? I mean, if they do make a run, I mean, it'll be a fine test this week. If you can shut down that Dallas offense, then I think he's gonna have a chance to win his job back. Which I think is probably maybe the most fair thing at this point. Show that you can do it. I mean, what would Packer fans do if they didn't go into a season with a defensive coordinator that they were on the fence about?
It's a tradition unlike any other.
It really is. The only one who had ever had that, Fritz Shermer. No one was ever doubting Fritz Shermer. It was like, that guy knew what he was doing. No one ever doubted him. But since then, it's been pretty much on the hot seat at some point. Which, speaks to it. We were going back to a few weeks ago where it's like, why can't the Packers have elite defense? Let's see if they can sustain this.
Right.
But, I mean, are they elite now? I don't think they're elite, but they're playing very well.
Yeah. Another texter saying, gotta love our receivers. Found it interesting that Alan Lazard making $12 million per year was a healthy scratch. Again, I did notice that yesterday in a game that doesn't mean anything and still healthy scratch yesterday.
Yeah. Do you like the Jaquan Brisker comments from the Bears?
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier this morning in case anybody's just joining us. Do you have it up right now?
I do. Okay. Jaquan Brisker saying, I felt like we could tighten up on the receivers a lot more than we did today. We gave them too much room, and I really have no respect for them at all, to be honest. Why? As the reporter asked. No one over there. No respect. They have no stars. It's like death by 1,000 paper cuts or whatever. Like, okay, maybe they don't have one big knife to gash you, but they have plenty of weapons, and the Bears found out. That's an attitude of a losing team right there.
Yep.
If you don't think you need to guard anybody, and you're just going to give these guys the space, well, guess what? They'll beat you.
Yep.
They gash you, and that's what they did. That is not an attitude you want to see from your defense.
Did you see Aaron Jones retweet on that?
Yes, I did. I love it. And I mean, hats off to Aaron Jones.
Yes.
He stepped up. And we've talked about this team kind of needing those veteran leaders in years past. I think Aaron Jones was the best example of that, them getting that leader. And him, not when he was injured, still there. He was always present with that team.
That's one thing that's always stood out to me. Even like during mini camps when veterans are excused, he's there practicing.
Right.
And he always says that he's a leader by example. And I have to wonder if that comes from the military background that he grew up in too.
I just don't want to see him. I never want to see him leave that team. I know it's
same way.
It could happen because he's a running back, and the capital you put into running backs is so small now. But I want him to be a part of the Packers organization after his career as a running back is done, because that guy just shows his stand-up and has done everything he needs to do to be a locker room leader.
Absolutely. If anybody doesn't know what he said, his tweet, paraphrase it, but he said, isn't it your job to cover those guys, though?
Like, I don't understand, that attitude of, we don't need to cover them. They're not going to do it. It's like, okay, just give them a cushion.
Right.
Let them catch it.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I first saw Aaron Jones retweet it last night too, and I'm like, wow.
If I was, a GM on that team, I don't know if you cut him, but you got to set him down and be like, you can't say that.
No.
That just shows just how inept your coaching is. If that's, it reflects horribly on the organization if you're going to say stuff about the other team's wide receivers and having no respect. That's bulletin board material for next year.
Exactly.
If you're still on the team.
Yep. Surveyor, I'll tell you this. I'm drinking Man Cave Lights from now on during the game 1-0 when that delicious beer is flowing down my gullet. We got Dave says, is the tush push Buffalo bobsled brotherly love shove legal ice bowl star was not to be helped into the end zone from behind, I believe. So kind of a question.
I couldn't pick them. It was always like you can push them, but you can't.
Yeah.
Assist.
Yeah.
The off season will we'll see what ends up happening there. And I mean, it seems like that kind of died out
Yeah.
towards the end of the year compared to where it was. Yeah, it's like the quick
Died out just like the Eagles are dying out right
right.
now.
You think about like the little wide receiver screen where they just hand it off basically to the wide receiver, the little
Yeah.
like we haven't seen many of those. It's weird. It's the NFL trends and teams finding ways to stop things, and
Yep.
things just keep evolving always. So yeah, that I think the NFL will have something to say about it, but I think it kind of almost eliminated. If you can find ways to stop it,
Exactly.
I have no problem with it.
Yep.
It's a football. It's the oldest football play there is. Just going in a scrum and
Yep.
moving a pile. So
Yep. All right. We got just a few seconds to the top here. So coming up next hour, we'll just do a quick recap of some of the local stuff there too, because I know Eau Claire Memorial's basketball big win against Menominee. Was it Friday night? I think
yes,
back there,
Yep.
overtime too.
the
So
girls, yeah, get
yeah,
it done.
big one over there too. So just quick recap on that. I know Blue Golds were against Whitewater and Hoops this past weekend too. So, but then we'll get back to some more football talk because we got more texts coming through here. See, I like positivity when
It's
it comes
weird
to
what
it.
happens when they win.
Right, exactly. All right, two-way. We got one more to go. We'll be back after these quick news updates. All right, final hour on this Monday morning. Quick reminder too, because it seems like we're going to get our first actual, kind of weird to say, is first winter event coming up here. So might be a good time to remind you that for any school closings or delays, stay tuned to sportstalk1051.com. Brought to you by Hovland's, Service Master, Chippewa Valley too. Just in case there happen to be any closings or delays, whether it's in the immediate area or maybe a little south to us over there too. So but they're already talking about that, so make sure you're paying attention to that. You knew it was coming at some point. We were going to get something.
Yeah.
So,
It was bound to happen.
Yep. We'll get back to some more football talk here in just a second, but really quick, let's kind of do a recap of stuff that's been going on, mostly for the weekend. Star Girls basketball over Memorial in overtime, defeating Menominee in a thriller. Menominee, kind of BRC at the top there,
Yep,
right?
undefeated going into the game.
Yeah, and then Memorial takes the game.
Overtime, and I think that speaks to just how good both teams are, not just how good Memorial is, which is they are a very deep team, and they've been just building and building to this, and that was get them on your home floor, find a way to Raina Welch making those free throws, clutch free throws in overtime to get them the win. But I don't take anything away from Menominee. That's a team that I think has aspirations of going to South as the old A's, but I think Menominee has been playing great. So they'll roll it back again later in the season. That'll be in Menominee, and we'll see. But yeah, fun to see a matchup like that live up to the expectations of you knew it was going to be a good one, and it ended up being that way and going to overtime and just a thriller. Just speaks to the volumes of how good both those teams are.
Absolutely. And I know on the boys' side, North got a win over River Falls.
That's big. Yeah. North has been playing really good basketball as of late, and that to me maybe is like the one that'll open up a next step because River Falls was ranked going into that game, and I think they were 9-1. Ooh. And I think North was 4-5 going in it, or 5-5 going in it. And North's just been playing some really good basketball late. And they got North, so we'll have North Memorial boys basketball coming up this week.
Nice.
I think it's tomorrow. I think it is tomorrow.
Okay.
So yeah, and that one I believe is at North. I made my schedule yesterday, but it's early. But yeah, they do play this week. I know for sure. So that should be a good one. Andrew Roxvold has been kind of last couple over the holiday break. They went into overtime and got a win, and he had two nice dunks.
Yeah,
he's been stepping up as a leader of that team. I think he had 36 or something like that on Friday night against River Falls. So should be a fun one. And that Memorial team just keeps on rolling. They have one loss on the season, only lost to Stevens Point, who was ranked third.
I was going to say that's a program over there.
Yeah,
so.
and they took them right down to the end. So Memorial continues. They went on the road and got a win on Friday as well with Wesley and Boga. They were at Menominee getting the victory there too. So he had a big game for them. And so, yeah, I think that'll be a really fun intercity rivalry. And we had that on hockey on Tuesday. That was
I was going to say Memorial's playing really well hockey too.
Yes. They come off beating Edgewood the week before, the number one team in the state. And then they've been rolling. And then Chippewa Falls ranked second or third in the state. Well, guess who meets Memorial and Chippewa Falls tomorrow?
Perfect.
So, you have your choice there, folks. You get two big I say just watch Sports Scene 13 at 10.
There you go.
You get the best of both worlds. But, yeah, so, Chi High Memorial, that actually is at Chi High at the CIA there. So, that will be a great matchup there. So, absolutely. Again, it's been just fun to watch these teams. And because once you get past Christmas, now things kind of start ramping up that intensity.
Exactly. Hey, speaking of basketball, I know Blue Gold's wise, they were actually against Whitewater this past weekend. Both men's and women's falling, but gave them some. I mean, these were tough games too. It wasn't just I know Whitewater was ranked and all that, but women's falling 66-53, men 81-69 over there. So, but still tough games.
Right.
Blue Gold's making it tough on the Whitewaters.
And I'll speak to the men's team first because I saw them play on Wednesday against Platteville, and they took Platteville right down to the wire. A team that was ranked in the top, I think they were 14th or something in the nation. And then you go right back to Whitewater, another top 25 team.
Right.
And they held their own, and it's not easy, go on the road at Whitewater. So I watched that men's team, and I see a team that's growing and figuring out things, and I think, give them a couple, they'll bounce back, and I think they're going to be a tough team. I mean, they're always tough games,
Right.
but I think this Blue Goals team has potential there to start pulling off some of these victories. They just got to find a way to get over that hump.
Right.
And I think it's great in a way to start with these two teams that they started with. You start with maybe the two best teams in the conference with Platteville and Whitewater, and you move on now, and hopefully that's hardened them a little bit, and they'll be able to get some victories. They got River Falls on Wednesday.
Okay.
And then with the women's team, same thing. Younger squad. You lose 5 seniors like they did last year.
Right.
That's always tough.
Yep.
They have Kylie Mogan, who's kind of the holdover from all that. But the rest of those pieces, most of it's pretty new. So and they've been getting better and better as the season goes. They're right around 500.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a Tanya England squad that she knows she's got those long-term plans, and that team will continue to mold themselves and get better as well.
Absolutely. Blue Gold Wrestling, I got to make a note of that too, because they went undefeated over the weekend. Coach Fader and that group over there just continues to hum along. So, I mean, and they've been traveling a lot too the last couple weeks here too. But
they're the hardest working team. I feel like, Jared Stricker also got his 100th win for them as well. I mean, that program just continues to get better and better. And like you said, if there is a match somewhere, they're wrestling.
Yep.
And that's why they're so good.
Yep, absolutely. So they win the Hawk Classic title, and I know hockey, women's hockey and men's hockey were in action too, and the women's team beating St. Norbert 3-1.
Yeah, after a rough game the night before where they lost 5, which St. Norbert coming in and scoring 5 goals. That Blue Gold's women's hockey team, that just speaks to how good they are. They don't have games like that usually where they lose at home like that. For them to just regroup and go back on the ice and get the victory the next day, just tells you the resolve of that team and how good they are.
Exactly. So before you know it, all this winter sports season is going to be postseason here before you know it too.
Yeah. We got to give some shouts out to the Wisconsin men's hockey team now.
Yeah.
9 games in a row.
Yep.
Just longest win.
Mike Hastings has done a fantastic job.
Yeah. That team, just watching those games, that is, they had a wild one there with Notre Dame on Saturday. Was it 7-4? I think the final ended up being. I mean, 11 goals. They've really turned a corner from last year. So that at this pace, they can get in the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
Make some noise. McClellan had an off day on Saturday, but I mean, in goal, he's been just as solid as you can get. So that team, and then obviously the Wisconsin women's hockey team is.
Mike Johnson knows how to win.
Yeah,
he knows how to win a little bit.
It's a machine that just keeps on going.
Yep. Badger basketball got the win over Nebraska too. A couple games in a row now. They've put up over 80 points for
that
Wisconsin.
Team,
so
I mean, we talk about teams turning a corner.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, everybody can score now.
Right.
Like the potential was there, but I think everybody's starting to open it up. And I mean, a lot of season to go, but it's been fun to watch so far. And AJ Storr has been what a great addition to that team, and maybe the missing key they needed to kind of maybe disperse everything where the pressure doesn't. Chucky Hepburn doesn't feel the pressure,
right?
So now you can move it on. Crowell doesn't feel the pressure. All these other,
Tyler Wall.
I mean, you say these names, and you're like, okay, this is a team that has a really good core. Connor Sejan got back into the action there. He had kind of been on the periphery for a while there. So I mean, there's just these guys.
And then the freshman Blackwell coming off and giving you some big time minutes and points.
Depth. Yep. And talented depth and experience depth. And in the Big Ten, that'll get you really far.
Yeah. They've got Ohio State coming up on Wednesday. Northwestern, which always makes me nervous whenever we play Northwestern.
Teams that seem to have the Badgers number in every sport. Northwestern seems to be that team.
Yep, exactly. And Northwestern just beat Michigan State yesterday too. So, and they beat Purdue earlier this season too.
Right. So they're not a pushover by any means.
They don't get intimidated. At all. So, all right, good stuff there for a quick local recap here. A couple texts to get to here. Future looks incredibly bright for this ball club. Cannot wait to see how the Packers look in the next 5 to 10 years with Jordan Love at the helm. That's the thing too. It's like, I know we're still we got a playoff game and all that, but it's hard not to talk about the future a little bit too, and just the excitement surrounding that.
And you can actually go out and maybe add some more cogs to that wheel this offseason with free agency now that number 12 isn't as big of a hit as he was this year.
Yep. So with the game, because this will be the last time I get to talk to you before the game, and so going into Dallas, there was a chance there for a little bit. Maybe it was going to be the Lions, depending on how that Rams and 49ers game played out. I think the networks obviously loved the Matthew Stafford going back to Detroit.
Right. The storylines are just great going into this weekend.
Yep. All across Tyreek Hill going back to Kansas City.
Yep.
Because we didn't get that this year. They had to go overseas for that one. And then, of course, McCarthy, Packers, Cowboys. You knew as soon as like Packers, Cowboys, okay, that's NFL on Fox Sunday afternoon. You kind of knew that was going to be the game right away. How do the Packers come away with the upset victory, in your opinion? They're 7.5 underdogs.
I mean, I don't know if Mike McCarthy would let his team do it, but if the Dallas comes in with that same attitude that the Bears had coming into this game and don't take that Packers offense seriously, because obviously there are some studs on that Dallas defense.
Yep.
Micah Parsons is arguably maybe the best defensive player in the league. So do you have something like that facing you? If you don't take that Packers offense seriously and they can gash you a little bit, then that's different. And we've seen this Cowboys team put up a ton of points, but we've also seen them just kind of disappear.
Yep.
They have not been consistent.
Yep.
So that opens the door for this Packers team to get out. I think you got to get out quick.
Yep.
Get out quick, get out in the lead, or at least keep up, depending on who scores first. But if you can get some early success, I think get in the back of the mind of the Cowboys that this is going to be a serious game. I think you have a chance.
I think Aaron Jones is going to be a big key in this one too.
Yes.
Cowboys about halfway through the pack and run defense, but they do give up over 100 yards a game. And Aaron Jones just ran for over 100 yards on the number 1 ranked run defense in the league there, but also just to control that clock. The time of possession, like to keep Detroit's offense on the sideline.
Yeah,
a little bit there too.
Yeah, I mean, if they can,
and he likes playing in Texas, his home state. Aaron Jones seems to thrive playing down there.
Right? Yeah, so. I mean, it's one of those things where he just gets a little extra pep in his step, and I think you're going to have all hands on deck. I mean, we'll see what the AJ Dillon situation is if he's back. Christian Watson, if he's back, you got Luke Musgraves was back. He was on the active roster. I don't think he was active for the.
Yeah, he played.
Oh, he did play.
Yep,
yeah, that's right.
Yep.
I'm thinking of. Yeah. But it's just how many offensive players they have. Like, I don't even think. But yeah, I mean, they should have all that complement back. Going down there, and who knew that this is the most teams they've played the most times in postseason. 9 is the most. Packers and Cowboys ties the most, I believe, or is the most that a team has.
I guess when you think about it, going back to the '60s and all that,
right? Well, in the '90s, they played 5 times in the playoffs or something like that, or 4. Well, they had those. It was every year the Packers couldn't get over the Cowboys during their 90 dynasty time.
Yep.
So yeah, this is
then the Dez nod catch, and then the Jared Cook tiptoe catch. Yep. So yeah, that adds up.
So they're only 2-4 down in Dallas, but obviously they won the last meeting on the tiptoe catch there. So yeah, let's see what they can do down there. I like you say, playing with house money.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, we as fans may look at it. Do you think the Packers should look at it and be like, is that a message Matt Fleur says? Like, hey, nobody, we're not supposed to be here,
right?
Let's just go out there and screw it up,
I'm
play
much more
loose and
believable. No one believes in us than the Chiefs last year with Travis Kelce.
Yeah, that was a little, or like Kirby Smart this year when Georgia was undefeated and saying, it's like, come on.
I mean, if you think about it, the pressure's on the Cowboys.
Yeah,
especially Mike McCarthy, who they lose this game. Who knows what Jerry Jones is going to do?
Yeah,
like if they don't make the run, I'm sure he might be run out of town.
Yep.
So the pressure's on the Cowboys.
Yep.
The pressure's not on the Packers. The Packers, again, playing with house money. You go down there, you might, and that's, I think, a lot of teams fear those loose teams that are just, whatever happens, happens.
Right.
So
that's what kind of made me nervous a little bit yesterday about the Bears too. It was like the Lions last year. They're busting out these trick plays. They're doing that nothing to lose, and I feel like if Green Bay wants to go in there into Jerry world, that's kind of what the mindset you have to have.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what they've done a lot with these youngsters. Again, that goes. How many times have we seen like young players just kind of maybe freeze up a little bit, get too nervous? It seems like these guys don't do that.
No, and I think that adversity that they played through in the middle of the year, a lot of these guys just having to fight to get on the field.
Yeah.
They're happy to be out on the field.
Yep.
You could tell with Bo Melton. I think he's talking about how last year he never got a chance. This year,
they're selling his jersey at the pro shop now for crying out loud.
There you go. Like I said, I saw the guy with a Ty Montgomery jersey on. Never see a guy with a Bo Melton jersey on. But it's great.
Yeah.
It's great just that these guys are taking it all in and appreciative. Talking with Wyatt on defensive lineman, like he was same thing. He's like, I didn't get a chance last year. We didn't make it. I'm here. I'm taking this all in. They all seem to be really the younger players are taking it, and then if you have like a Rashawn Gary, he's like, this is a team that's supposed to be in the playoffs.
Yep.
Like he's business. Like this is what we do. This is what the Green Bay tradition is. Go to the playoffs, and they're there. So I think there's just that good mix right now. And like the veterans, like Aaron Jones is your veteran. The rest of that team is so young.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's like Jones and Preston are like your top two guys who've got that ton of playoff experience. Right. But it's that nice mixture, I think, of those guys, but also the inexperience of the young ones where they don't know how to act and they're just going out there and playing.
Yeah, and I think that gives a lot more energy. It gives energy to those older guys.
Yep.
Like a Kenny Clark and stuff like that. Those guys are feeding off of all this, and they also can pass down the wisdom of I've been in that position before.
I did see Jair's professional post-game pressers lasted a whole 5 minutes or like one post-game presser.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't do anything like weird or anything like that.
He was very, very, toned down.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe that's good. I mean, I still like, there was some fun with the Jair, just like weird going off on rants. But I think, obviously, I think he took it to heart. I think he realized.
He sounded like a humble guy his first time talking after suspension.
And maybe he realized that maybe, his hubris was a little too high there for a while, where he was maybe taking too many liberties of making it about him and not the team. But, talking to those guys, like even like a Quay Walker, and he's like talking about keeping his emotions in check no matter what he does. And that's a guy who got, the big penalties last year that he's, there's a lot of deep reflection with a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
And I think they're all happy for each other. And I think that's the thing. That feels like a locker room that's playing for each other. It doesn't seem like there's guys just out there playing for themselves now. I think everybody's playing for each other, and that's what you want going into the playoffs.
Yep. I agree. All right, before I let you go here, I know we got to about 5-6 minutes or so tonight. Actually, I always feel like it flies under the radar.
It does, yeah.
It used to be because it's after wild card weekend. Now it's at the end of the regular season here. But national championship, Michigan, Washington, two-parter. Who do you got winning? And is this Jim Harbaugh's last game?
I think Michigan wins.
Yeah.
And I think it's Jim Harbaugh's last game. I think we mentioned that. I think he wants to get out of town before any more controversy comes out. And who knows what we'll find out in the future. Or if there is anything. Maybe there isn't anything there. Maybe there isn't. But usually when there's smoke, there's a little fire, especially in college football. But who knows? Maybe, he gets all validated. But I think after this year, I think he's ready to go back to the pros and not have to deal with as much that he's been dealing with there. Again, I don't know how much of it's self-inflicted, and I'm not privy to all that stuff. It's just, it's been an interesting year, and I think it would be if they win, he just walks off with that title, and for him it would be perfect. And then he's going to have plenty of suitors in the NFL.
That's where I'm curious to see because he could pretty much pick where he wants to go.
Right.
It would seem like
San Diego gets mentioned.
I mean, Los Angeles.
Well, it was San Diego when he was there.
That's true.
That's because he was once a quarterback there. So, I mean, let's see what the Bears do.
Yeah. You go to the Chargers, you got your quarterback. Go somewhere else where you could pick your quarterback, potentially.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the Panthers.
He's going to get a lot of money. If he comes back to the NFL, he's going to be probably the highest paid coach.
Now you got Atlanta mixed in there, potentially.
Yeah.
Who might just be a quarterback away now. I do love the rumors out there swirling that could the Falcons make a push for Belichick. Can you just imagine Belichick at Hotlanta?
It
that
doesn't
seems
fit.
weird. No.
No. I don't even know where, like, any of these openings where he would fit the most. Maybe Commanders.
Yeah.
But they sound like they're going to go, you get the committee that's coming in to pick. They're really trying to find something different.
Yep.
Instead of the status quo. So
I know
him in
everybody's
Carolina doesn't feel like it fits.
I know everybody was saying the Chargers because he's got his quarterback over there in defense. They could use an upgraded defense, but
Let's go here. What if, let's say the Packers beat the Cowboys?
oh boy, can you imagine?
Mike McCarthy
Oh,
gets fired. These are all hypotheticals. I'm not
Yep.
wishing this upon anybody.
right.
But do you know if there's an opening in Dallas?
Bill going to the Big D.
If Parcells was there.
Yep.
Siri's even trying to chime in on this on my watch here. So
wow, I didn't even think of that.
and
Especially like if the Cowboys get blown out.
right.
Yeah.
Then or Harbaugh.
Oh gosh.
I mean, for some reason I could see Harbaugh in that Dallas dark blue.
It has been a while since, if you think about it, since Jerry Johnson made a splashy coach hire, right?
Right.
McCarthy wasn't splashy. Jason Garrett wasn't splashy. Wade Phillips was like, this is what we got left over because Parcells retired after that.
Yeah.
And Parcells was kind of splashy, but then before that wasn't splashy until, Jimmy G and Barry Switzer and, go, oh boy. Would Harbaugh go there knowing he wouldn't have roster say?
Ooh, that's true. There's going to be a lot of questions going on, and we're not even sure. We probably haven't seen the last of the coaches fall yet.
It's usually one surprise, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, Panthers are rebooting everything. Got rid of the GM.
Yep.
New coach come in. So, I mean, that's where you'd probably have the most power.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, Robert Kraft, though, I mean, he gave Belichick the power. Would he give Harbaugh the power?
Power.
I've got the power!
Oh, this is going to be a weird offseason.
It really is.
Washington doing some weird stuff. Then there was, I know he kind of downplayed it, but there was talk that could Pete Carroll retire.
Right. Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
Like, Vrabel has been on the hot seat.
Yep.
So there's still some more dominoes that could definitely fall.
Yep. Exactly.
I think the NFC North right now is maybe one of the more, Eberflus, we don't know what. 3 out of the 4 teams are pretty stable.
Yeah. I don't know if this is how I pronounce your last name, but Swoopy. Packers go to the Super Bowl. Nothing to lose. Dallas can be beat. Lions almost beat them at home, so we have a good chance to win. So.
Like I said, if you can get it going early on, you can't let that offense get humming and that defense, again, can swarm.
Yep.
So
yep.
We've seen it's been a very two-faced Cowboys team this year.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll beat the Cowboys. Then you've got the 49ers right after that.
Yeah, which has
been
guarantee. A team that they've got to be getting close to 9 meetings in the postseason.
They got to be
with the
getting
49ers
up there too.
Yeah, because it's been almost every year in the last 10 years they make the playoffs.
Yep.
49ers 15 years basically.
Yeah, they got to be way up there.
Yeah, it's got to be close.
Yeah. I don't even know who would be third on that list.
It is a very good question. Philadelphia or something like that.
Philly. I mean, yeah. I mean,
I'm going to see if I can get this answer before we go off. How much time we got?
We got it. We got a few minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can keep talking.
Okay.
I'm going to see if I can find out who's number 2.
Yeah, find out number 2. I'm going to say it's 49ers. Or would the Giants sneak in there if they go way back?
Oh, that would because they played the Giants. Let's see. Okay, we're almost done. This is the most thrilling time when Justice is looking something up on his phone.
Because NFC Championship with Favre, then 2011 with Rodgers, and the other one with Ben McAdoo.
It's got to be the Giants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times with the Giants.
Okay.
And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 1, 2, 3. I got 9 times with the 49ers.
Ooh.
So they're tied with the 49ers.
Okay.
The Cowboys and.
All right. So Giants would be 3.
Yep. But those are the 3.
Yeah.
Like when they're in the playoffs, it's there's a good chance they're playing the Cowboys, the 49ers, or the Giants.
I saw somebody, we were having fun with this on Friday, but is there a way we could get Madden and Summerall to come back and announce these games?
Oh, well, those Cowboys. I don't know if you want them with those Cowboy games because
Yeah.
those weren't good times.
That's true. You know, if it does happen to be Cowboys and 49ers in the NFC Championship, bring back the 90s uniforms for this, though.
Yes. Yeah.
Please.
I just remember being a kid in Green Bay, and every year they would face off against
Uh-huh.
Dallas, and you were like, "Oh, this is gonna be the year," and then they would lose.
I still remember the November before Thanksgiving game
Yep.
when they finally came. It was deer hunting opener, too, that weekend because I didn't go because I wanted to watch that game. And, yeah, the narrative was like, finally Dallas comes to Green Bay.
Right.
And I remember Dion got a pick six before half, but Green Bay still won it. So,
I still feel like that was part of I wish would because they never beat them in the playoffs because I think that was the year that Dallas either snuck in as a wild card or
yeah.
they had a down year that year.
Yep.
So it wasn't like Packers got to beat them at home in the playoffs. It was a regular season game.
Yep.
So I feel like they never really got the comeuppance that I think Packer fans wanted them to have against them.
I agree. All right, JC. Appreciate it as always, man.
It's been fun.
You think Packers going to win? You going to make a prediction?
I think they have a chance.
All right.
I can again if they play the way they've been playing that offense, they've definitely got a chance.
I don't think the Cowboys are going to be overlooking them. At least they'll try not to.
No, I don't think.
I don't think McCarthy will. I think McCarthy's going to preach that, but whether the players.
Yeah, it's all up to the players.
Yep.
It really is.
Yep. All right, bud. We appreciate it, man. We're going to take a quick break, and we got about 25 minutes left. Get back to some more texts, studs and duds, all that good stuff. John, texting line, happy Victory Monday. Dan losing my voice yesterday at Lambeau was definitely worth it. Bring on the Cowboys and go, Pack, go. There you have it. Nothing new yet, or I should say newer yet, on any head coaching changes. We already mentioned Washington is moving on from Ron Rivera. Arthur Smith was relieved of his duties really early this morning, even late last night. So a couple openings there. We already know Carolina's open. Chargers are open. Raiders are technically open. So what is that, 5 right now? We'll see about the Patriots. Titans. Could the Bears make a move? We'll see. But perhaps some more potential changes later on today. We got the national championship tonight. Still, it's about 50-50 in terms of picks for everybody out there. It's about 50-50. Who you riding with? Who are you picking? Michigan or Washington? Let's do some studs and duds. We got studs and duds before we're going to get to some picks and predicts, including our winner for our Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge. It had to go to the tiebreaker if you are a part of the challenge and you see those points kind of in the top corner, like in the thousands. That's tie-breaking points over there. So had to go to a tiebreaker. Had to go to a tiebreaker for our Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge. So, but some studs and duds. A lot of you, I'll just kind of again, I'm gonna because we had a lot of the similar ones. I don't want to go through every single one of them because they're the same. But studs, a lot of you just going with the Packers. We had a few Jordan Loves on there too. We had Jade Reed pick over there too. Duds. Really, we only had a couple of duds, and everybody's pretty positive this morning. So duds, the couple of you just went to the Bears. Still, you know what? So that's kind of where everybody's at. My studs and duds. I'm gonna go studs. I'm going Matt LaFleur. I'm gonna go Brian Gutekunst. I'm gonna go Jordan Love. I'm gonna go with this young Packers team too. I'm going with everybody with this. I'm pumped. I'm excited about this team. We're playing with a little house money right now. Bring it out. We're back in the postseason after being a year gone. Here's the other couple things too. One, we don't have to talk about Aaron Rodgers coming back to Lambeau next year because that ain't happening. Packers finishing second in the division. That ain't happening. Two, Hard Knocks not coming to Lambeau either. Won't have that distraction because the Packers are back in the postseason. Booyah. Duds. Good one for the Bears there too. My other duds, I'm going with the Eagles right now because I think the Eagles, boy, something's going on over there. They're not playing some good football heading into the postseason. I mean, you got a matchup with the Buccaneers. Should the Eagles be a little bit concerned right now with how they've been playing heading into the postseason here? Maybe, potentially, but what, they were down 24-0 at one point against the Giants yesterday. So I'm going dud Eagles. Dud Eagles over there. So there you have it. Studs and duds for this morning. Again, picks are about even. We got a few more of you texting in with some picks for the Washington and Michigan game. So it's about 50-50 right now. I'll save it for our picks and predicts coming up here in just a few minutes here. But if you've been listening before in the past, you already know who I'm picking here. But if you don't know the schedule, if you missed it for wild card games for this weekend, again, quick reminder: first game is going to be Cleveland at Houston. Houston getting the division because of the Jaguars losing to the Titans. That could have been a dud one there too. But Cleveland visiting Houston. That's going to be the first game, 3:30, NBC. Then Peacock only, 7 p.m. Miami at Kansas City. Tyreek Hill returns to Kansas City. Sunday, the first game, noon, Pittsburgh at Buffalo. And then we've got Green Bay at Dallas at 3:30. And then the Sunday night game is going to be Matthew Stafford returning back to Detroit. Rams at Detroit at the Lions there. Then the Monday night game is Philadelphia visiting Tampa Bay. The biggest line right now, the biggest spread, and we'll see if this kind of changes throughout the week, is Buffalo and Pittsburgh. Buffalo favored earliest word I saw was 9.5, and then it was followed by Dallas over Green Bay at 7.5. So, all right. With that being said, let's make some picks and predicts. We got Bucks back in action tonight going up against the Utah Jazz. Bucks looking to bounce back from their loss to the Houston Rockets on Saturday. Giannis even kind of calling out his team. We got to be better. Even going down to the equipment manager saying, we all got to be better right now. And they've got Boston coming to town on Thursday. And when you look at the latest standings in the NBA now, Milwaukee's still in second place. They're still in second. 3.5 back from Boston for first. Philadelphia is 1.5 back from the Bucks right now for second place. Philadelphia riding 2-game lose 5-5 in their last 10 games. So we'll pick that game plus a couple other NBA games that'll be in action tonight. We'll take that quick break and then wrapping things up with our picks and predicts brought to you by the Elbow Room in just a few minutes. All right, it's time for our picks and predicts. My voice will make it through for the final 10 minutes, I promise. Picks and predicts brought to you by the Elbow Room. Looking maybe for somewhere to catch a game, one of these postseason games. Head up to the Elbow Room where they now serve Man Cave Light. So the Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge. Looking at the leaderboard, looks like we've got a winner. Now Garrett and Tim did tie up there with 181 points apiece. However, tiebreakers had to come into play. So every time when you've made some picks, you've predicted some scores and such for the tiebreaker. And when we look at who's accumulated the most points in the tiebreaker, that would be one Garrett. It looks like at the top there with 1,557. It was close though. Tim, 1,438 for the tiebreaker points there. So congrats, Garrett. The Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge for the regular season over here. I'll see if I can set something up for the postseason. Let's see if we can set one up for the postseason. Have some fun with that one over there too. But big thanks for everybody for making your picks every week. Peter just 1 point back there, finishing in second. Tom finishing in third. You had Pat, Darren, also there 176. Scotty's, Keith, Joseph, Edward, myself. I had a bad week. I was in fourth and I dropped down to seventh. It was a bad week this week. So, but again, big thank you to everybody for having some fun and doing some of our Pro Football Weekly Pick'em challenges up on our website. Let's do some more picks though, shall we? I'm going to try to come up with a thing so we can do some weekly picks even outside of the football season. I'm going to do some more weekly picks with you, the listeners out there. So I might select some games each week where you can go online, make some picks, have some fun with this thing. All right, maybe I'll throw some Man Cave Light involved in this. See if I got any extra ones over there. So, but let's do some hoops picks because we got Bucks in action tonight. Also, I'm gonna do this Boston and Indiana game. Let's do this Boston Indiana one here too. Yeah, let's start off with that one. So this one's in Indiana. Boston 3.5 point favorites visiting the Pacers. Uh Tyrese Halliburton's having a hell of a season. Hell of a season right now. I'm gonna go Boston though. I think Boston wins, and I think Boston covers in this game. We've got Phoenix, the Suns, taking on the LA Clippers, who have actually been playing better. They're 14-4 at home. The Clippers are favored by 5.5. Phoenix just 19-17, 2 wins over 500. I'm going to go Clippers. And I think the Clippers cover too. They figured it out with so far, but they figured it out with all those dudes on the team there. A lot of personalities on there. So I'll go with the Clippers, and I think they cover. So then we got Jazz versus the Bucks. Jazz just 6-15 on the road so far this year. Milwaukee 16-3 at home. Milwaukee is a 9.5 point favorite. Coming off of Giannis kind of calling them out after that loss to Houston. Giannis saying we have to be better. We have to play better. We have to defend better. We have to trust one another better. We have to be coached better. Every single thing. Everybody has to be better. It starts from the equipment manager. He has to wash our clothes better. The bench has to be better. The leaders of the team have to be more vocal. We have to make more shots. We have to defend better. We have to have a better strategy. We have to be better. We have 4 months to get better, so we'll see. I think the Bucks win. I think they cover too. I think they'll win by 10. They'll win by double-digit points here. So, now we've got the national championship game tonight. Michigan, Washington. Michigan favored by 5.5 right now. I'm going to stay with my Michigan pick. I don't know if I'm going to go with the over, though. I say Michigan wins by like 4. I'll go Michigan by like 4. I think it's like 24-20. I'll go 24-20. Michigan wins tonight for the national championship. And then I feel like for the predict of our picks and predicts, I'm going to go with I think Harbaugh leaves. I think he goes to the NFL. No, do I want? I'll go Chargers. I think he jumps ship and goes to the Chargers. I think the Chargers will offer him a boatload of cash, a lot of say, and roster building and front office stuff. So that's where I'll roll with that one. But those are your picks and predicts. Again, brought to you by the Elbow Room, and a big thanks to everybody who participated in our Pro Football Weekly Pickup Challenge. I'll try to set something up for the playoff one here. We'll get something rolling. We'll get something rolling. I know we usually do our March Madness bracket challenge up there too, but I think I'm going to do something. I'll set something so we can have a little fun with this, and I'll see if I can find some swag or some prizes to throw in there. Kind of do a little leaderboard challenge up there. So I'll work on it. All right, I'll work on that. We only got about a few minutes left here. I believe we will hear from Matt LaFleur later on today, usual Monday presser. Maybe get some updates on Romeo Dobbs and such. LaFleur did say yesterday after the game, because it seemed like Christian Watson was going to play, and he didn't. And LaFleur did say yesterday after the game, he's like, it was a little gamesmanship by me. He's like, I apologize for lying a little bit. So maybe it wasn't as close as we initially thought, but boy, I'd love to have him back on the field for that Dallas game. But we'll see about Romeo Dobbs. Hopefully get updates on him too. See where he's at and such. But yeah, we should, under normal circumstances, we should be hearing from Matt LaFleur later on today. Anything newsworthy, obviously, we'll talk about it tomorrow. But a lot of you pumped up about the Packers right now and the future of the Packers, the outlook of the Packers. Not necessarily maybe for a deep postseason run, although a couple of you said they're going to make a deep postseason run. But you're feeling pretty good about the outlook for this team here. You're pretty pumped. And that's good to see. I know we had lots of discussions throughout the season about whether this team should I should say now would you cheer for them to lose games to get a higher draft pick? What should we be watching for? In October it wasn't looking very good. All right, we just want to see growth. We want to see them getting better. They may be losing games, but we want to see growth. And lo and behold, this team now 9-8, not the greatest record in the world, but they're back in the postseason. For this very inexperienced team to gain that exposure, to gain that experience of some postseason action, I think is going to pay dividends down the road. But the main thing we can take away from this season too, or one of the main things, is that Jordan Love is the starter. They've answered that question. They don't have to go into the offseason. They don't have to go into the draft and try to find a quarterback. They don't have to do that. They've got that all squared away. They can focus on other things now in the offseason. They don't have to worry about that quarterback position. Big bonus. Big bonus. No. All right, yeah, no. Okay, I was trying to see if there's any coaching updates. Diana Rossini saying Bill Belichick is still the head coach of New England, but the Atlanta Falcons are a team to watch if Belichick is available. They are interested per sources. I'm sure he'll have some suitors. I'm sure he will. I just can't picture Belichick in a hot Atlanta, down in Atlanta. That just seems, I don't know, maybe he looks at that as an opportunity too. I mean, look at the division. Not world beaters by any means, right? I mean, Tampa Bay won the division this year. So I think the other dud that I probably would put on here too was what the Saints did. I forgot to mention this in my studs and duds. What the Saints did yesterday. Victory formation. They're at the 1 or 2. They had 41 points. They were winning like 41-17 or whatever it was at that point. Victory formation, but it was kind of a fake victory formation. Jameis Winston hands it off to Jamal Williams for a touchdown, which led to a very angry Arthur Smith, who is now jobless. Dennis Allen apologized for it. Jameis Winston says doesn't regret it. They were trying to reward Jamal Williams, who we love Jamal Williams. We've had Jamal Williams on the program too, but not a good look. Not a good look. All right, tomorrow it is a Ray's Place. What's your beef? All right. Do you have a beef? Might not have a beef today, considering probably still feeling pretty good on this victory Monday, but still got some time. Maybe something will happen today or such. But what's your beef? Think about that for a little bit. That way you can win a hot ham sandwich or hot beef sandwich from Ray's Place. Sounds like with the weather coming up here too, might be a perfect time to head on down to Ray's Place and grab yourself or some Spanish stew over there too. Might have to grab that with maybe some colder temperatures coming down the wire here. But think about that and send us your what's your beef for tomorrow. Okay, that's for tomorrow. We'll also chat some Badgers, get the latest on transfer portal and such with Mr. RJ Cardinal. Some intriguing players coming through the transfer portal for this Badger football team. Plus, we'll talk a little hoops with him too, and hockey, of course. That's going to do it. Thanks for hanging out with me this morning with the voice coming in and out. Big thanks to everybody who texted, tweeted, sent messages, contributing to the program. Appreciate all of you. Let's do it again tomorrow morning, all right? 6 a.m., just past 6 a.m. Talk to you again. Playoff week.